Hi everyone, I'm Ms. Seebacher, and if you're watching this video, you have me for either Algebra 1 or Geometry class this school year. In this video, we are going to go over the class syllabus. So make sure you have your parent or guardian with you to watch this video, because at the end of the video, I'm going to talk about how your parent or guardian needs to fill out a syllabus acknowledgement Google form, which you will find on my Google Classroom. Alright, so the Valley STEM Academy's mission is to prepare students with skills necessary to compete in the global economy while nurturing the characteristics of discovery, invention, application, and entrepreneurship. So everything that is encompassed in this mission statement will be present in my math class this year. About our class, so I have a passion for collaborative, student-centered learning environment. So in my class, you're going to be working together with other students, which might look a little different than normal due to all of the social distancing guidelines that are put in place, using the math content that we are required to learn to solve real-world applications, or using the math content to apply to a project down in the STEM lab. So we're going to learn a bunch of skills that are valuable outside of just the math classroom. So if you have me for geometry, which the majority of people watching this video will, because I teach 5 geometry classes this year and then 1 algebra class. So if you have me for geometry, these are just some of the main topics that we're going to cover this school year. So congruence, similarity, right triangles, trigonometry, circles, equations, measurements, dimensions, modeling, probability, proofs and reasoning, surface area and volume, and transformations. So all those topics, we're going to find ways to relate them to the things down in Mr. Van Orman's STEM lab, the robotics and coding that Mr. L teaches you. We're going to find ways to take all those topics and really relate them to real life and make them fun. If you have me for Algebra 1, here are some main topics that we're going to learn in Algebra 1. So again, just like I said about geometry, all of these topics here, we are going to find ways to get down into the makerspace, get down into the STEM lab, do projects that make all these topics, graphing, patterns, problem solving, algebraic expressions, linear equations, systems of equations, quadratics, inequalities, exponents, sequences, functions, and statistics. We're going to relate all of that to STEM, because that's why you're here. Alright, so supplies. What do you need for class? First, I'm requiring that you have a 3-ring binder. The size does not really matter to me, but if I had to say, I would say 1.5 inches. But any size 3-ring binder with 5-tab dividers. The reason I'm requiring a binder just for math class this year is because it's going to let you be so much more organized. So you know where all of your materials are for both in-person and those online learning days, which we'll talk about in a few slides. So what supplies do you need? A 3-ring binder and 5-tab dividers. If you have any problem getting any of that, please just email me or call me and let me know, and we'll figure it out. Calculators, there's always a lot of questions about calculators. So most of the time this year, we're going to use the Desmos graphing calculator on our Chromebooks. The Desmos graphing calculator is the same online graphing calculator that students are allowed to use on their end of course state test, so on the AIR test. So when we're using that Desmos graphing calculator in class, really the only thing your student should have open are the Desmos graphing calculator tab and the given assignment on their Chromebook. They shouldn't have anything else open at that time. If they are found cheating on their Chromebook during an assessment, the rules stated in the student handbook will be followed. I do have a class set of handheld calculators because I know some students like an actual physical calculator that students can use when they're in class, and they will be sanitized thoroughly after each use. If you want to have your own calculator, I recommend this one shown here at the left. It's the TI-30X-IIS. You can find them at Walmart. They're about $10. They look like this. Sometimes they come in different colors, red, orange, pink. But just know that it is not mandatory for you to purchase your own calculator. We will use Desmos. I do have a class set for us to use in class, but if you want your own physical calculator, this is the one that I would recommend purchasing. All right, so this slide is titled, When Do I Come to School? Because I know that might be a little bit confusing. So students with the last names A through K, so if your last name starts with A through K, you're going to come to school in person on Monday and Wednesday. On Tuesday and Thursday, you won't be physically in school, but you will have assignments posted on Google Classroom for you to do from home. And then on the flip side, students with last names L through Z, you are going to come to school in person on Tuesday and Thursday. So when you're at home on Monday and Wednesday, you're not just chilling at home. You do have assignments that will be posted on your Google Classroom that you will be required to do. And then everybody stays home on Fridays, but you will have assignments to do. We will do live Google Meets on Friday. So there's more information on that to come in the next slides and as we start the school year. But if you ever forget, when am I supposed to come to school, reference back to this slide. All right, so given that only half the students are going to be at school and any given day, we're going to use a flipped classroom model this school year. So when you're at home, you are going to be assigned videos to watch that explain content to you. And then when you're in school, we are going to apply that content that was explained in the video to projects and in-class activities and discussions. So using this model allows for in-person class time to be used for projects that integrate the use of technology in our STEM labs and our makerspace. So if you're at home on Monday, you might have an assigned video to watch about linear equations. And then on Tuesday, when you come to school, we're going to use what you learned about linear equations on Monday to do a project in the CNC lab, on the CNC machine down in the STEM lab that involves linear equations. So watching the videos while you're at home is very, very important for the flipped classroom model to work. Here's just a little bit more information on the flipped classroom model and how it looks different from the traditional model. So some benefits of the flipped classroom: it increases student-teacher interaction. It's easier for parents and guardians to help their children when they're at home because you're not helping them solve problems. You're just helping them watch a video and go through the content. It decreases anxiety around homework because you're not going to be at home with 50 math problems to do. You're going to be at home with maybe 2 or 3 videos to watch that explain something to you. And then you also have the ability to pause and rewind the videos and rewatch what you need to rewatch. It is important that students watch assigned videos during their online days so they are prepared for the projects and activities we will do in person. If you are at home on an online learning day and you need help, please, please, please don't hesitate to email me. My email address is listed right there. It's lynette.seebacher@mahoningctc.com. Just know that while you're at home learning, I also have students in class. So I will respond to you as soon as I can, but it might not always be instant. It might not be 5 minutes after you email me. Might have to wait until my planning period or till the end of the school day, but I will get back to you as soon as I can. All right, here I said earlier in the video that we were going to talk more about the online Fridays. So all students are learning from home every single Friday. You will be required to log on to a Math Google Meet during the time that you would normally have math class with me. So if you have me for geometry first period, you're going to log on to the geometry Google Meet that I post on Google Classroom at 7:55 a.m. when you would normally be in your desk in my classroom ready to start first period. This is a school-wide expectation, and attendance to these Google Meets is mandatory on Fridays. Procedures from the student handbook will be followed if students fail to attend the scheduled Google Meets. All right, some expectations in STEM this year. No food in the classrooms, no drinks in the classrooms other than water. So no eating or drinking in class unless it's water. This year, STEM-wide, we're going no cell phones. You have your Chromebook. Everything you need to do for class can be done on your Chromebook, so you don't need your cell phone. Headphones are not going to be permitted in my class unless I tell you you can have them in. Failure to meet these expectations will be dealt with in accordance to the guidelines again in the school handbook. So if you haven't read your school handbook, definitely recommend that. All right, with COVID, we have to practice social distancing, sanitizing. It will all be done, and so all COVID procedures, policies, and mandates set forth by the school and listed in the student handbook are enforced in my classroom. Google Classroom, everything we do will be posted on Google Classroom, so make sure you have your notifications on. If you have any questions about how to navigate Classroom, make sure you ask. Parents and guardians, if you would like to join Google Classroom, please just reach out to me and let me know, and I will get you added, so that way you can see what I'm posting for your students each day. All right, leaving the classroom. We're going to use a digital hall pass this year, which is posted on my Google Classroom. You will fill out the digital hall pass when you leave the room and when you re-enter. So in my class, you still must ask permission to leave the room because we need to limit hallway traffic, so only one student will be allowed out of the room at a time. Grade-wise, we use the same grading scale outlined in the school handbook, and I often will let you redo assignments in order to reach mastery. If you are absent on a day you're scheduled to be at school in person, you can find everything we did in class that day on Google Classroom. Here are just some emergency procedures. I wanted to include these here just so you're aware of them. So what are we going to do in class if there's a fire? What should we do if there's a tornado? What should we do if there's an intruder? So I would take a minute to go ahead and read through these on your own. We will talk more about these in person in class. All right, so it is my goal to ensure that every student has a positive experience with math and with Valley STEM this school year. So if at any point during the school year there's something I can do, students, to help you have that experience, or parents and guardians, if there's something I can do to ensure that your student has that experience, please reach out to me and let me know. All of my contact information will be at the end of this video. So before I get to that, now I'm going to talk about the Google form that I mentioned at the beginning of the video. So parents and guardians, please fill out the syllabus acknowledgement Google form that is found on your student's math Google Classroom. So I'm going to show you where that's at right now. So if you go to your Google Classroom, you want to click on classwork and then go to the week 1 topic. So it will say week 1 with a little pencil, August 24th to August 28th. So here you'll have the syllabus slides in the video. That'll be the first thing there. And then underneath that, you will see syllabus acknowledgement Google form. There's a Google form here. You'll want to click on it. It'll pop up. Oops, I need to move my screen. It is pink. Miss Seebacher's class 2020-2021. So you need to have your parent or guardian fill this Google form out and then submit it by September 3rd. So that is like one of your first assignments that will be graded for this school year. Again, here is my contact information. Please feel free to contact me at any time. Communication with parents and guardians is important to me and vital to your student's success. So you can email me or call me. My email address and my phone number are both listed here on the screen. I'm excited for a great school year.